and it is really the central question, can you look the country in the eye and say, I have the experience and I have the ability to be not just vice president, but perhaps president of the United States of America?
I do, Charlie.
Meet Sarah Palin, creationist. If this man wins the US elections in November and dies in office, this means Palin will become president. Sarah Palin has given almost no interviews. The following is taken from a 10-minute clip of one of her interviews.
I believe that under the leadership, I believe that
Okay, so she believes in things. What sort of things does she believe in?
That our leaders, our national leaders, are sending them out on a task that is from God. That's what we have to make sure that we're praying for, that there is a plan and that that plan is God's plan. So bless them with your prayers of protection over our soldiers.
So this woman believes that starting a war with Iraq was a mission from God, and that praying will protect the soldiers. Personally, I would have gone for body armour, as it seems to have a significantly better track record at stopping bullets than prayer. But then again, this is merely the suggested best course of action from the godless science that shows that the Earth is not about 6,000 years old, contrary to Palin's beliefs. Other than that, Palin seems to believe in not blinking and incessantly calling the host Charlie.
you can't blink. You can't blink. So I didn't blink then even. We must not blink, Charlie. I do, Charlie, and to this table, Charlie. But Charlie again. In what respect, Charlie? Charlie, you're God-given, Charlie. The task is from God, Charlie.
In her youth, Palin was a beauty queen contestant, which may go some way to explaining her communicative skills.
I believe that under the leaders that I believe
that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and...
Now many open-minded and fair people will at this point be calling this a cheap and unjustified shot. I contest this. I want you to mark the following responses by Miss Teen South Carolina and Sarah Palin for articulacy, content, and how many coherent sentences they actually managed to compose. Bear in mind that one of these is widely seen as one of the most nonsensical answers ever captured on tape, while the other is delivered by someone who is running for the Vice President of the United States. I stress, both answers are completely unedited.
A fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South...
Do we have the right to be making cross-border attacks into Pakistan from Afghanistan, with or without the approval of the Pakistani government?
As for our right to invade, we're going to work with these countries, building new relationships, working with existing allies, but forging new also, in order to, Charlie, get to a point in this world where war is not going to be a first option. In fact, war has got to be, and military strike, a last option.
But Governor, I'm asking you, we have the right, in your mind, to go across the border with or without the approval of the Pakistani government?
And in case you think this is merely an isolated instance, this woman has given a few interviews. This is a clip from another interview.
Class families who are struggling with health care, housing, gas, and groceries. Allow them to spend more and put more money into the economy instead of helping these big financial institutions that played a role in creating this mess.
That's why I say I, like every American I'm speaking with, we're ill about this position that we have been put in, where it is the taxpayers looking to bail out. But ultimately, what the bailout does is help those who are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, helping the... It's got to be all about job creation, too, shoring up our economy and putting it back on the right track. So healthcare reform and reducing taxes and reining in spending has got to accompany tax reductions and tax relief for Americans. And trade, we've got to see trade as opportunity, not as a competitive, scary thing, but 1 in 5 jobs being created in the trade sector today. We've got to look at that as more opportunity. All those things under the umbrella of job creation. This bailout is a part of that.
Did you get that? If John McCain wins, this woman will be one 72-year-old's heartbeat away from being president of the United States. And if that doesn't scare the hell out of you, it should. I'm 65 and have been covering politics as you have for a long time. That is one of the most pathetic pieces of tape I have ever seen for someone aspiring to one of the highest offices in this country. That's all I have to say.
What insight into Russian actions, particularly in the last couple of weeks, does the proximity of the state give you?
They're our next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You've cited Alaska's proximity to Russia as part of your foreign policy experience. What did you mean by that?
That Alaska has a very narrow maritime border between a foreign country, Russia, and on our other side, the land boundary that we have with Canada. It's funny that a comment like that was kind of made to, I don't know, reporters.
Mocked?
Yeah, mocked, I guess that's the word, yeah.
Mocked? And rightly so. This is a prize-winningly stupid answer. If Palin thinks that being able to see Russia counts as foreign policy experience, then being able to use Google Earth makes you a world-class foreign policy guru. Indeed, by Palin's reasoning, the ability to see ballistic missile subs in Russian harbours gives you expertise in TAC nuke exchanges, while being able to see fast attack Russian nuclear subs and aircraft carriers in America gives you experience in naval warfare.
Have you ever met a foreign head of state?
I have not, and I think if you go back in history and if you ask that question of many vice presidents, they may have the same answer that I just gave you.
In fact, every vice president in the last 32 years and every living vice president has met a foreign head of state before taking office. More lying or simply not knowing.
Do you agree with the Bush doctrine?
In what respect, Charlie?
The Bush. Well, what do you interpret it to be?
His worldview?
No, the Bush doctrine, enunciated September 2002.
So Palin doesn't know what the Bush doctrine is. This is breathtaking ignorance. The Bush doctrine, invented by this man.
I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
The man who declared mission accomplished before he decided to stay the course. The guy who started the war that Palin thinks was a mission from God. The Bush doctrine is the root cause of arguably the biggest US foreign policy blunder since Vietnam. That's about 50 years. You might have thought that Palin would have had at least a superficial insight into the political happenings of our own country over the last 8 years.
The Bush doctrine, as I understand it, is that we have the right of anticipatory self-defense, that we have the right to a preemptive strike against any other country that we think is going to attack us. Do you agree with that?
Charlie, if there is legitimate and enough intelligence.
What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence.
That tells us that a strike is imminent.
We know where they are. They're in the area around Tikrit and Baghdad.
We cannot wait for the final proof. The smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
Against American people, we have every right to defend our country.
However, Palin does make the odd comment that I agree with.
I believe that what President Bush has attempted to do is rid this world of Islamic extremism, terrorists who are hell-bent on destroying our nation. There have been blunders along the way, though. There have been mistakes made. And with new leadership, and that's the beauty of American elections, of course, and democracy, is with new leadership comes opportunity to do things better.
Yeah, That's right, this is the beauty of democratic elections. You get to change your leaders for the better, and you do this by learning from the mistakes of the past. If there is one lesson that America should have learnt over the last 8 years, it's that having a grade A moron and screw-up artist as a leader is a bad thing. Please, America, don't make the same mistake again.